This episode is brought to you by White Claw Surge. Great podcast pick, friend. No surprises there. After all, you're all about finding the tastiest flavors out there, just like White Claw Surge. And with big, bold flavors to enjoy, like blood orange, blackberry, cranberry, and more, it's time to go all in on taste. Unleash the flavor. Unleash White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. 8% alcohol by volume. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ugh, you said you were over him, but his hoodie is still in your rotation. It's time. Grab your phone, snap a few pics, and sell it on Depop. Listed in minutes, with no selling fees. And just like that, a guy 500 miles away just paid full price for your closure. And right on cue.
Hey, still got my hoodie?
Nope, but I've got tonight's dinner paid for. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste. List now with no selling fees. Payment processing fees and boosting fees still apply. See website for details.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Hello everyone and welcome to this very impromptu, exclusive, I don't know what the word is, episode of How the Podcast. It's Gav, and we've gathered very quickly to discuss the news that David Bruce, the club's, I guess the man who runs the club day to day these days and has had a massive hand in everything that's going on at Sunderland right now, is set to leave. Massive news, massive unexpected news. I'm imagining when you all heard that David Bruce was leaving the club, you're a little bit surprised. Joining me just to chat about this very quickly, we've got Andrew. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. This is out of the blue. I was not expecting to speak to you today.
No. And also, Johnny Hawley's with us. Hello, mate.
Hello, gentlemen. Yeah, this must be the quickest time between a text to say, is anyone free to record, and being in the podcast that's ever happened.
I know. And I wish I was talking to you both under nicer circumstances, because this is big news. I think, people maybe don't realise how big a role David Bruce plays at the club. He's been there for, around 2 years now, and day to day has really been the man running the show since Kirill's wife had a baby. He's kind of not there as much. David Bruce handles a lot of the day to day, a lot of the big change that we've seen at the club, the investment in infrastructure, and a lot of the initiatives you see around the club. The kits was a big one. The Legends Way stuff. David Bruce has had such a massive hand in all this. The name of Jimmy Montgomery's stand. There's so many other things, but David Bruce basically being the man who runs the club day to day. This is huge news, massive news, Andrew. And I'd come to you first on this, but you kind of got this news as we jumped on the call to chat about it. What's your initial thoughts and reaction to
that? Genuine shock, Gav, because from the outside, he seemed to be doing a brilliant job. The off-the-pitch side of the club looks to have improved tenfold of late. A lot of the things the fans wanted seem to be happening, and we don't know the details yet. I dare say once the dust settles, we'll have more of an idea. But at this point, it seems like all I'd want to say is good luck to him. Thanks for the job you've done. You've been instrumental in helping turn the club round, and good luck for the next steps in your career.
Yeah, Johnny, what about you? What are you thinking, mate?
Yeah, no, similar to Andrew, really. It's obviously, like you have said, unexpected. Did not see it coming. But I think Bruce has done a really good job. Obviously, none of us know what goes on in granular detail behind the scenes at the club every day. If we did, we'd be working for the club instead of sat here talking about it on podcasts. But yeah, I think the Hummel kit deals have been, obviously, everybody's loved those. I think a lot of the improvements to the matchday experience been fantastically well received, and rightfully so again. And yeah, just like you say, there's so many things, aren't there, that his fingerprints will be all over, that some of them, a lot of them, we'll never know for sure whether he was involved or not. But I don't think you could look at his time in the role, which is getting on for 2 years at this point, a year and a half or so, but you can't look at that period as anything other than a success, really, in terms of, where we were when he came in, where we are now, and the things that we know he was directly involved with. The vast majority have been, they've been unqualified successes. So yeah, it's a shame, I think.
Yeah, it's a massive shame. Like I say, I've been in his company a few times, and he's just such an engaging bloke, and somebody who clearly loves the club a lot. He born and raised in Sunderland, and I know he came back from many years working in America with the MLS, but he's clearly really took this job very, very seriously, and I think like you see, his fingerprints are all over lots of the good stuff that's going on at the club right now. And I'm curious to see where this is all heading. I mean, I've heard murmurings about a change in terms of the organisation of the club, and apparently a new CEO is being mooted. There's been quite a lot rumbling on in the background, but I don't think anybody could have seen this coming, Andrew. I think he's been, like I say, so influential. You only ever hear good things about David Bruce.
Yeah. There is I am genuinely in a little bit of shock about this. It was only a few days ago we were celebrating beating the Mags and thinking everything's happy, everything's like ticking along nicely. And listen, everything might still be happy behind the scenes because we don't know the details. But yeah, just if you told me a few days ago that David Bruce was in line to move on, I would have been staggered. I'm not one of these people who thinks this is a local club for local people, but the fact that he grew up in the area did give him this unique ability to understand the fans, but because of his CV, also understand the nature of his job. And I think technically him moving to Sunderland was a step down from his previous role. He only took the job because it was Sunderland. So yeah, there was a lot of passion, a lot of love for the club, married to his other skills. And yeah, as a supporter from the outside, he looked to be an ideal fit.
And what do you think about this for the future, Johnny? Like we understand, like you say, that a new CEO is going to be appointed, which effectively replaces David Bruce's role. I mean, obviously, we don't see what goes on day to day at the football club. We don't know what bubbles under. We don't know about relationships between executives. Business is tough. Like, I think that's fair to say. But I can't help but feel a little bit gutted about this. If I'm honest, I think he's like everything I've seen with David Bruce's involvement's been just fantastic from a fan perspective. I even think about the kits and the fact when I walk into the stadium now, it feels like home, and he's had so much of a say in all of these things. So there may be bigger reasons for why this has gone on, and longer term, it may well benefit the football club, but they've got a right ruthless streak in them. This lot who run the club now, they're not scared to make changes if they think it's for the best, and I guess we've kind of just got to have faith that this genuinely is for the best, even if we don't really like the sound of what's going on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm quite torn on it because on the one hand, I think you're spot on. The fact is that this club under Kirill and this regime, they've proven to be ruthless, and that whether that's the squad on the pitch, whether that's the coaching staff, whether that's the academy, whether that's clearly the business side of the club as well, they don't discriminate, and I think in a lot of ways that's a good thing because there shouldn't be any positions at the club that aren't under threat. You should always be under threat. If you don't perform and you don't do your job to the top of your abilities, you should be out. But it's difficult to square that with our experience of David Bruce. I totally agree with you. I think from a fan point of view, it's extremely difficult to find things to pull him up on. I'm sure some people listening might point back to the Black Cats Bar thing. who knows who was exactly involved in that, but there are things like...
Was he at the club then? I don't know if he was.
I cannot remember exactly whether it would have overlapped. I certainly don't think if he was here that he was in the chief business role yet. But like that kind of thing has happened. So there are things like that you can point to and say, well, I would have preferred not to say that. But by and large, everything's been brilliant. And the kits, I want to just pick up on that one specifically because it's easy to kind of be like, oh, well, it's just the kits. It's a bit of an afterthought. You know, it's just what they wear. It's going to be red and white. But it did show, I think, a really good sort of attunement between Bruce and the fan base because he came in and he just immediately knew, like, well, yeah, bring Hummel in. The fans will love that. They'll lap it up. And not just that, let's kind of work with them. There was that talk about when they were doing a bit of a walkthrough of Sunderland and going into local pubs and stuff to, you know, looking at the floor tiling patterns and things like that to incorporate them onto the kit designs. And that's the kind of thing that I think you just can't teach that almost to borrow a phrase slightly clumsily when talking about footballers, but you either instinctively get that kind of thing or you don't to some degree. So it's a shame, and I think executives, by and large at Sunderland, have not been the most positively viewed bunch of people, shall we just say. And I think there's naturally a lot more trepidation when you're looking at it and going, I completely trust them to replace footballers. I don't know how well they'll replace executives, and I think it's harder to do anyway because it's such a high-paid, specialised kind of industry. There's not hundreds of millions of people across the world growing up dreaming of being a chief exec or a business officer or a marketing executive or whatever, like there is with football players. So yeah, it's one of those where obviously the next move is critical. Whoever it is that comes in has to be the right choice.
Yeah.
Score more with the college-branded Venmo debit card and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash. Got paid back? With the Venmo debit card, you can instantly access your balance and spend on what you want, like game day snacks, gear, tickets, and more. The more you do, the more cash back you can earn. Plus, there's no monthly fee or minimum balance. Sign up now at Venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
My day kicks off with a refreshing Celsius energy drink, then straight to the gym. Pre-K pickup, back home to meal prep. Time for my fire station shift. One more Celsius, gotta keep the lights on. When the 3-alarm hits, I'm ready. Celsius. Live, fit, go. Grab a cold, refreshing Celsius at your local retailer or locate now at Celsius.com.
And the club statement on this confirmed that David Bruce will be with the club till the end of the season, following a broader organisational restructuring. The club went through all the things that he's done during his time at the football club and gave him a really good write-up. But the key details in there that he will remain with the club through a defined transitional period as Tom Burwell, Chief Executive Officer of BIA Sports Group, assumes the role of interim CEO with immediate effect. Tom currently serves on the club board of directors and will provide temporary executive oversight on behalf of the board as recruitment of a permanent CEO progresses. Tom Burwell, for those who don't know, I mentioned it there, the BIA Sports Group, that's basically the sport franchise that Kirill and Juan Sartori head up, that includes esports and motocross and all these other things. Tom Burwell is on LinkedIn, so if people want to kind of look into what he does more broadly, they can do that themselves. And then there is a little statement from Kirill Louis-Dreyfus who says, David has made an important contribution to Sunderland AFC, and I want to thank him for his commitment he has shown throughout his time with us. His connection to Sunderland is profound, and that has been reflected in the care, dedication, and energy he has brought to the role. He should be immensely proud of the part he has played in helping move the club forward. As our leadership structure evolves to reflect our continued growth in the Premier League, we will now appoint a permanent Chief Executive Officer to help consolidate and build on the progress we have made. During the interim period, Tom will step into this role having already played an active part in our transition to the Premier League. His leadership will ensure continuity and keep us firmly focused on the path ahead. I nearly got through that without muddling my words and then got right at the end there and bollocksed it. David Bruce has said, "To have had the chance to play a part in the story of my boyhood club has been a privilege I will carry with me forever. Every decision, every late night and every challenge was driven by one thing, a desire to see Sunderland become everything this club, its supporters and this city deserve. In a short space of time, we have taken meaningful strides, grown our reach, building a commercial platform that gives the club greater strength and stability, and working to create an experience that reflects the passion of our supporters. More than anything, I hope we have helped reconnect the club with the people who define it and the city to which it belongs. I leave proud of what we have built, grateful for the people I have worked alongside, and certain that the club can reach even greater heights. I did not come here simply as an executive, but as a Sunderland lad who grew up loving this club, and that is how I will always see myself. A supporter first, last, and always." Very emotional words there from David Bruce, Andrew. I think we can all kind of we can relate to that, right? Because if I was a Sunderland fan, that would be my attitude as well. That I was lucky enough to play my part. I'm sure he's gutted, Dave. Like I think he's got to be. We don't know whether he saw this coming. My suspicion would be he didn't. This has been very, very sudden news. The fact that the club are appointing a CEO, well, given the guys ran the football club basically in all but title for such a long period, probably thought he was going to get that job.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I bet he's gutted. As a Sunderland fan, he must be devastated that this has come to an end.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're three Sunderland fans who were talking and are devastated about the news, so he must be feeling that a million times more. That quote he's given there, that statement he's given, proper touch of class. Because yeah, deep down he must be reeling, must be heartbroken. But yet again, like we've seen from him throughout his tenure at the club, he speaks really well. That's beautifully thought out, beautifully spoken what he said. Louis Dreyfus's statement is quite telling as well, because a lot of the things he said there are basically just a fancier way of what we've all just said. So it doesn't appear as if there's any sort of animosity there or any sort of problem as such. It is just Sunderland doing that thing that they do where they're ruthless. And I want to be careful because we might say something that in a few years' time looks ridiculous. The structure that comes in after David Bruce might take us to stratospheric levels, and then suddenly it's the right decision. But certainly at the moment, at this exact moment in time, I do feel as if David Bruce had more to give, as if he was only just getting started. And yeah, there's been lots of positives, but I've not had the feeling that he'd hit a wall or that he'd gone stale. I was of the opinion of, this is a lad who's got the ability to do even more in the coming years. So, it's a queer one, Garth, put it that way.
Yeah. And Johnny, just to get your thoughts on that statement as well. I mean, like we've both said there, me and Andrew, with that, as a Sunderland fan trying to relate there, I would be gutted. So I bet he is.
Oh, 100%. If you're a Sunderland fan and you've got a brilliant job at Sunderland Football Club and you're doing well and the club are succeeding, and then for whatever reason and however it's exactly transpired, it essentially gets taken away from you, you're going to be gutted, aren't you? The same way that I imagine Dan Neil. I think Dan Neil just today released, depending on when we release this, but just today released a statement of his own talking about how touched he was about the tributes that he got leaving when he left Sunderland. And was mentioned it was with a heavy heart that I left and all that kind of thing. It's in a way, it's no different, is it? It's a Sunderland fan who was enjoying being at Sunderland and then has had to leave for essentially reasons outside of his own control. And that feeling is just ubiquitous. I think we'd all completely relate to that. I would just say on the idea that he had more to give, I do agree with that. I would have expected if Bruce had stayed that he'd keep contributing and seemed like he would, was still fully invested in everything. But there is also, I suppose, if you flip it the other way, you can kind of look at it in the sense that we're not used to seeing people depart who we didn't already want to see depart. You know, normally when people have been leaving Sunderland over most of our supporting lifetimes, players all the way up, it's been people we're happy to see the back of and don't let the door hit you on the way out, you know, which in itself is kind of a bad sign. If every time somebody leaves, you go, oh, well, thank God they've gone, it means that everyone's outstaying their welcome or not performing. Whereas, you know, this season, we're now seeing David Bruce go. It's a shame. And we all, you know, wish him the very best. Christian Speakman's gone, did brilliant work at Sunderland. We all wish him the very best. As I said, Dan Neil, Anthony Patterson, players like this, you know, there's been a lot of it, and it's sad and it's bittersweet, but the fact we're sad to see them go means they were doing well and contributing and being positive influences for Sunderland, which is not always the case. And yeah, it's not to say that makes it a good thing, because we're happy to see him go, but it's a hell of a lot better of a position to be in when these people leave rather than where we had been over the past, you know, decade, 15, 20 years. Go back however long you want, really.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen what all this means. I'm sure you lads join me in thanking David Bruce for everything he's done for the football club. Like I say, I'm gutted on a personal level. I've really enjoyed his company at times, and you know, enjoyed seeing the job that he's done. I've enjoyed, you know, walking into my stadium and feeling proud of it again. He's had a massive part in all that. You know, the promotion campaign that the club had. It wasn't just about the players on the pitch; it was about the staff off the pitch as well. And you know, that's the guy who headed up a lot of those great things, and a lot of the great things that when we step back into the stadium for the Tottenham game, that we'll see. You know, so yeah, just from a personal perspective, I'd like to wish him all the best, and I hope whatever he ends up doing next, I'm hoping he's a success in that too, like he has, because he has been a success at Sunderland. Let's not get around it. You know, he's done great things for the football club, and he did great things when he was in America, and whatever he goes on to do next, I'm sure he'll do fantastic. But I guess from us, thank you very much to David Bruce, and let's see where it goes from here. We will be back with a regular episode of the pod tomorrow. We are not going anywhere over the international break, and as we lead up to that Spurs game, so plenty to look forward to. We've also got plenty to catch up on if you haven't already listened to this week's pods. The lads did their ranking of the derby games, which was great fun to listen to. Andrew, with you, Chris and Ant, that was a good little series there. Also, there was a news roundup over the weekend, which me and Andrew did with Connor Bromley. There've been Q&As and loads of other good stuff. So make sure you get caught up on all the old stuff, and also tune in for the rest of this week's pods. But from us, bye for now.